Peace, Chiefs, and Deers. It's Bronzebird here with another video. Before I begin, like and subscribe. Thank you. So, I've been noticing something for a little while. Something has came to my attention. Something has rose me up to want to make this a quick little YouTube time story or, a review of these recent attacks, more specifically this Airbnb party that seemed to be underage in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. What I've been inferring is a lot of the times, a lot of these American cities, there has been an increase attack and violence happening across, and usually the ages are around, I would say, past 15 all the way to like maybe the mid to late 20s. And what I've been noticing a lot of the times is that these attacks are just like, it's fruitless. It doesn't really have any value. But this is something I really wondered about because I know that there's people out there renting out spaces, whether it's to live or, create a little event where they want to have parties and have a good time, but people are losing their lives. And I remember my time at an Airbnb party and stuff like that. And, for lack of a better term, shit got wild. A lot of these parties, people is getting drunk and, it's all these different things like it would at a normal party. People getting drunk, others getting very horny, so they want to have sex and, all these different things that's happening out here. But, sometimes those people who might be intoxicated may take things into their own hands and want to destroy property, or even much so with a storyline like this. They want to be able to pull out their weapons and shoot it up and, warn people to get out and this, that, and the third. See, I reviewed the video before I did this. And what I've inferred was, I don't know the exact cause of why those two young men decided to bring out their guns and start shooting. But much as so, a pack-filled place is going to be a recipe for disaster. Because there's not going to be a lot of people to, get out on time and stuff like that. It's been many scenarios where there's been a packed house inside of someone's house, or more specifically, an event in particular, and usually someone ends up dying. And I say all this to say this, especially to the young viewers that's viewing this. You may not think anything of it, but of course, when you go to a function like this, I will always advise, number one, always stay near the exit so that it's an easy entry, an easy way to get out so that you could possibly not get shot up or, get hurt like some of these people did get hurt. You understand? And more or less like, stay aware of your surroundings because, people out here are very dangerous. You don't know what they're capable of. You don't know what they could do. And you don't know if they have a weapon on them. All you know is this is just a party. Everybody wants to have a good time, dancing, high kiki, and especially the young men out there. You want to be able to get a number. You want to be able to, socialize and communicate with the females there. But I'm going to be reviewing this story, the case itself, and I'm going to be giving my perspective on it. So, Pete.
A shooting inside an underage house party at an Airbnb property has been captured on a dramatic live stream in Pennsylvania. 2 people died and many more were injured. Some resorted to jumping out of windows to escape.
He got the gun! Get the out! Get the
An eyewitness captures pure pandemonium.
He got a gun!
200 partygoers, many of them underage, packed into a holiday rental, crushed in the stairwell in a struggle to get out.
And this is a thing that I also really wondered about because I'm very familiar with this whole entire, incidents where, people want to be able to throw these events and they try to conform to having more people and more capacity than it's supposed to be at events like this. I mean, I even seen it before. I remember way back, there was someone that I was cool with, and it was a very tiny apartment. And what he did is that he was trying to invite so many people found out, and he was like, yeah, pull up. And next thing you know, so many people pulled up, the security was called. The security started getting suspicious, and, the cops came in and blah, 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 and the dude vanished. He vanished because he didn't want to assume responsibility for having all those people come up in that spot to have fun and have a party, man. You know, and those, I mean, if you are one of those that's an event coordinator, of course, it would be responsible for you. And especially if you're an amateur at this is your first time, it's very responsible for you to understand the capacity that could be allowed in a function such as this. Not necessarily because someone's going to pull out a gun per se, but just the fact of the matter that you want to be able to create a safe environment where if something like this happens, you, your friends, and everybody that's involved in a situation are able to get out in case something gets violent and out of control.
Come on! Oh my God! That's it! Oh my God!
Even when they reached the exit, it wasn't clear where the next round would be coming from.
Based on the evidence so far, this is still preliminary, that there was multiple shooters.
Officials estimating 90 rounds were fired.
And the thing about it is, if they're saying multiple shooters, I would guess in my head that more than likely it was a beef, probably maybe, just maybe. It could be gang affiliated, or maybe because they might have known each other and didn't get along with each other. They decided, they said, you know what, we're going to take this inside here. And we don't care if this is somebody's Airbnb and somebody's renting it out. We don't care. And again, my assumption, maybe I might be wrong, there might have been a level of intoxication in that type of party where they, you know, they might have got drunk and said some words and might have budged a shoulder and be like, okay, well, pull out your gun, I'll pull out mine, and we're going to see who's going to fight to the death. You don't know at these events. That's why I always say you got to be very careful with things like this. You understand? Like, I mean, as an Airbnb, it falls back on you. And then, you know, it might get into a point where, you know, the person who's hosting the Airbnb more than likely has to go ahead and pay for the damages that was caused at the scene.
Inside and out from multiple weapons, the gunfire prompting some to jump from windows, sustaining broken bones and lacerations. 11 were injured, 2 young men, one of them just 14, died. The shooters still at large.
You have alcohol, you have underage people here, and you have guns. That's a deadly combination.
A deadly holiday weekend for America, 3 mass shootings in 3 days. These attacks becoming so routine that those pushing for gun control fail to resonate.
2 attacks in South Carolina, a 22-year-old in custody after 14 people were injured at a shopping mall.
Oh my God.
Police also investigating a shooting at a club that left at least 9 people injured.
Too many guns, too many illegal guns on the streets.
In the United States, Alison Petrowski, 9 News.
And my thing to that is, it's very remarking when situations like this, because this is always an American topic where they always want to bounce for gun control and say, hey, look, listen, we need gun control. We need more responsible. And I mean, you can't stop any old person who has a gun to use it with malicious intent or any other way they're how. We can't predict that. Like, why? Well, the thing about it with America is it does seem like they're going to try to take away the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, and to say, hey, look, listen, we don't use guns and stuff like that. But what if you have someone who's trying to rob your house and they have a gun and you have a gun, or they don't have a gun, but you want to warn them, hey, look, listen, you can't do that here. I mean, it even reminds me of a story way back, and I believe Florida, where they was going ahead with the whole entire stand your ground law. And there was a so-called Black woman who decided to fire off warning shots against someone who was doing something wrong to her. And she got in big trouble for that. And then it's like, well, how could you blame her for using her right to go ahead and express her rage on something that's happening to her? So this isn't just a story about, hey, Pittsburgh and all these random, you know, mass shootings and all these different things, especially my last story that I did that was titled Frank R. James and the Colin Ferguson connection, in which Frank James, for whatever reason, decided to take his gun out and shoot blankly on a Manhattan-bound N train and throw a smoke grenade in it to confuse the people and cause this rage. You understand? I mean, there's a lot of reasons why a lot of these mass shootings of 2022 is taking place. A lot of it may be a simulation, a lot of it may be a psyop, or it might just be people who engage in a quote unquote nigga moment, especially something like this, maybe. or might engage in fruitless arguments that might have them take their emotions out by using a gun. But therefore, a lot of these conversations about gun control in America always comes up. And, then it's going to rely on the hands of president that's sitting at the time, this one Biden, who will maybe say, hey, look, listen, we're going to get rid of these guns, or you're not going to be able to protect yourself, because a gun would establish some type of freedom. So therefore, with all these attacks and all these guns going off, then it might be like, hey, we don't need this. You're going to have to find out another way to defend yourself. But who knows? It may become like this, and then you might get into a world where it might become the purge. But give me your thoughts on what you think about this situation, what you think my thoughts is about gun control in America. And I will respond, or stuff like that. Peace.